Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always excited to see what we uncover.
Well, this time, someone sent us this amazing interview with Shanae Aiko from the JayShettyPodcast. And I got to say, it's packed with some pretty powerful ideas about creativity, spirituality, and self-discovery.
I agree. There's so much to explore there.
Yeah, and you know what really stood out to me?
What's that?
How intertwined those things are for her. Like creativity, spirituality, and self-discovery, they all seem to feed into each other.
Definitely. And it seems like the tough times in her life really push her to explore those parts of herself even more deeply, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, think about her early experiences with spirituality. She talks about her grandmother's passing when she was just 4 or 5 years old. Such a powerful memory for her.
Yeah, that early encounter with death and the afterlife, it seemed to spark a curiosity in her that just never went away.
Exactly. And it's so interesting how she talks about blending what she learned in Christian Sunday school with Buddhist funeral traditions.
Right, like her understanding of spirituality was shaped by all these different influences. That resonates with a lot of people, I think.
Totally. And, she even talked about this vivid memory of talking to the sky, asking for her grandmother to come back, and then seeing butterflies, which she saw as a sign.
Such a powerful image. It shows how those early experiences can really stay with us and shape our spiritual development throughout life.
It's like that event planted a seed that just kept growing as she went through life.
hmm It makes me think about something else she mentioned later in the interview, her fascination with roots. And I mean that in both a literal and figurative sense.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. It's like she's drawn to that idea of interconnectedness on different levels.
Exactly. On one hand, she's totally captivated by the physical roots of trees, like their strength and the way they connect to each other.
Right. She even describes feeling like a tree herself, with her family representing this vast network of roots.
And that image ties in perfectly with the story Jay Shetty shared about redwood trees, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. The way their roots intertwine and share nutrients to create this resilient, supportive network.
It's such a powerful metaphor for family, for community, even for our own sense of belonging in the world.
Like we all crave that feeling of being grounded and connected to something bigger than ourselves.
I think so too. And it makes you wonder about your own roots, right?
It does. I've dabbled in genealogy a bit myself, and it is fascinating to uncover those connections to the past.
But it's not just about family history, is it? It's also about what grounds us in the present moment.
You're right. Our values, our passions, the people who make us feel loved and supported, those are all part of our roots too.
They really are. It's about recognizing those sources of strength and connection that help us through difficult times.
Which brings us to another important part of Aiko's story, how music evolved for her from something fun into a powerful tool for healing, especially after her brother's passing.
That was such a pivotal moment in her life, and it seemed to deepen her connection to both music and spirituality.
Definitely. She talked about initially using things to numb the pain of her grief, but realizing she was searching for something deeper, a more genuine way to heal.
And that's where her journey into meditation and mindfulness really takes off.
Yeah. It became about confronting her emotions, processing them, and finding a way to transform that pain into something meaningful.
And you can see that evolution reflected in her music. It becomes a way for her to process her experiences, to turn pain into art, and to connect with others who might be going through something similar.
I think that's what makes her music so powerful. She's saying, hey, I've been there too, and this is how I'm finding my way through.
Exactly. That vulnerability, that willingness to share her journey is so powerful. Grief, loss, the search for meaning, we all go through these things.
Hearing someone articulate those feelings so honestly can be incredibly validating and inspiring for others. I know it is for me. Have you ever had that experience where music helped you through a difficult time?
Absolutely. Music has always been my go-to for expressing emotions, whether I'm happy, heartbroken, or anything in between.
And it's amazing how certain songs can make you feel so seen and understood, even when you can't find the words yourself.
It's like music creates this bridge between our inner world and the outer world.
That reminds me of something really practical that Aiko shared, the red light meditation.
Oh yeah, the one she learned from Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk and peace activist.
Right? He's known for his teachings on mindfulness and compassion. And it's just one example of how Aiko's constantly looking for tools and practices that help her navigate life's ups and downs.
Whether it's through music, meditation, or exploring her family history, she's actively engaged in her own growth and healing.
For sure. And that's such an important lesson for all of us, isn't it? To find what works for us and build our own toolkit for well-being.
Absolutely. So what about this red light meditation? How does it work?
Well, imagine you're driving and you hit a red light.
Instead of getting all frustrated and impatient, you take that red light as a signal to pause, take a deep breath, and just bring your attention to the present moment.
Oh, I love that.
You can notice your breath, maybe the feeling of your feet on the floor, the sounds around you.
Right.
It's like a mini meditation right there in the middle of your day.
Turning a stressful moment into an opportunity for mindfulness.
Exactly. It's amazing how a little shift in perspective can make such a big difference.
It really is, and it's something we can all do no matter how busy our lives get.
Absolutely. So speaking of perspective, Aiko also talks about her exploration of sound healing and immersive experiences.
This is where those crystal singing bowls come in, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's so fascinating how she blends these ancient practices into her modern music and performances.
Right. And she talks about it almost like it was fate, how she first discovered them, a chance encounter at a store that sparked her curiosity.
And from there, she starts incorporating the bowls into her music and live shows.
She even created this immersive experience at Wisdom LA, where people could lie down under visuals while bathed in the sounds of the bowls.
Wow, can
Right.
you imagine? A multi-sensory journey of sound and light designed to promote healing and introspection.
It sounds incredible, right?
It really does. The soothing sounds, the mesmerizing visuals, the feeling of being completely immersed in the experience.
It speaks to her desire to create art that goes beyond just entertainment, you know?
Yeah, it's like she's inviting her audience to participate in a journey of self-discovery through sound and vibration.
Exactly. It makes you think about how we can be more intentional about creating those kinds of experiences in our own lives.
Experiences that nourish our souls and connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
Have you ever been to a sound bath or experienced any other forms of sound healing?
I haven't, but I've always been so curious. I've heard people describe feeling so relaxed and rejuvenated afterward, like a sonic massage for the soul.
I love that description. A sonic massage for the soul.
Right. And I think that's what Aiko is getting at, the power of sound to heal, to transform, to connect us to our inner wisdom.
It's not just about passively listening to music. It's about actively engaging with sound as a tool for self-discovery and well-being.
Exactly. It reminds me of something else. Aiko talked about how she turned her experience with being triggered into a creative project.
Oh yeah, she was very open about her struggles with anxiety and how certain things could easily set off those intense feelings.
But instead of letting those triggers control her, she channeled that energy into something positive.
Right. She created a song called Triggered and paired it with a modern mantra to help people manage those overwhelming feelings.
It's like she's taking something that was once a source of pain and turning it into a source of healing both for herself and others.
It's so inspiring, right? It reminds us that we all have the power to transform our challenges into something meaningful.
Absolutely. And Aiko's approach is a beautiful example of how creativity can be a powerful tool for healing and self-expression.
It's about finding those outlets that allow us to tap into our authentic selves and share our stories in a way that resonates with others.
Exactly. You know, one thing that really stood out to me was the significance of Aiko's chosen surname, Chilumbo.
Oh yeah, it's more than just a name. It's a symbol of self-acceptance and embracing all parts of herself.
Including the parts that might be seen as wild or unconventional.
Right. And I love how she breaks down the name.
Chi for life energy.
L for love.
M for the sound of the universe.
And BO for foundation and the circle of life.
Such a beautiful blend of personal meaning and universal concepts.
It really is. And she also mentioned that Chilombo means wild beast in an African language.
It's like she's embracing her own fierceness, her strength, her untamed spirit.
It's a reminder that wholeness includes all of us, even the parts we might try to hide or deny.
It's about integrating those shadow sides, those aspects of ourselves that we might judge or try to keep hidden.
Embracing our wholeness means acknowledging and accepting all of it, the light and the dark, the wild and the tame.
I think that's such an important message for all of us.
It is. It's about recognizing that true authenticity comes from embracing all of who we are, even the parts that might make us uncomfortable.
And speaking of discomfort, Aiko also spoke about the importance of distinguishing between intuition and the inner critic.
Something a lot of us struggle with, for sure.
She was very open about her own experiences with anxiety and self-doubt, especially in such a demanding career.
And what's so inspiring is that she didn't shy away from those struggles. She actively sought out tools and practices to help her navigate them.
Like finding guidance from books and retreats.
She specifically mentioned the Elin Institute, a place known for its focus on personal growth and spiritual exploration.
And she talked about using practices like silence and mindful driving to quiet that inner critic and cultivate a stronger connection to her intuition.
I think her willingness to be vulnerable about her challenges makes her insights even more relatable and powerful.
It shows us that even someone as successful and seemingly confident as Jayne Aiko faces those internal struggles.
And it gives us permission to be more compassionate with ourselves when we inevitably face those same doubts and anxieties.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that cultivating a strong sense of self-awareness and inner peace is an ongoing journey, not a destination.
And there are so many tools and resources available to support us along the way.
From meditation and mindfulness practices to therapy and creative expression.
It's about finding what works for you and creating a personalized toolkit for navigating life's ups and downs.
I love that. It's like we're all building our own internal compass, and it's constantly evolving as we learn and grow.
You know, speaking of learning and growing, Aiko's responses to Jay Shetty's final 5 questions offer a great glimpse into her values and what she prioritizes in life.
Oh, those are always so insightful.
Are you ready to dive into those?
Absolutely. I'm always fascinated to hear how people answer those rapid-fire questions.
Me too. They often reveal so much about a person's perspective and what truly matters to them.
So the first question Jay throws out there is, what has helped your mental health this year?
In Aiko's answer.
Sleep.
Sleep, huh? Pretty basic.
Yeah, it seems simple, but in our culture, we're always on the go, always connected.
Right.
We often sacrifice sleep for productivity or, just to keep up with everything.
Go true.
But Aiko's answer reminds us that rest is crucial.
For both our mental and physical well-being.
Exactly. And it's not just about the amount of sleep we get.
It's about quality sleep.
Yeah, really deeply resting.
Okay, so then Jay asks her, how do you personally refuel after pouring your heart into an album? What do you think she says?
Let me guess. Sleep.
Sleep.
Again.
Makes sense though, right? Creative work is demanding. It takes a lot out of you.
Physically, mentally, emotionally.
It's a good reminder to honor our own creative process and allow ourselves time to rest and recharge afterward.
Couldn't agree more. We can't pour from an empty cup.
Love that analogy. All right, next question. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in the last 12 months? And get this, Aiko talks about learning to approach difficult situations with a sense of calm.
Instead of reacting immediately.
Yeah, slowing down, breathing through them. It's like shifting from resisting challenges to embracing them with more mindfulness.
Exactly. It goes back to those mindfulness teachings she talked about earlier, like the red light meditation.
Finding those pockets of calm even when things feel crazy.
It's definitely a practice, but so worth it.
Okay, ready for question 4. What's something that you're confident about that others may disagree with you on?
Let's see. I'm curious what she says.
Well, she basically says that nothing is cuter or more precious than a cat.
Haha, classic cat person.
Right. But it also speaks to her individuality.
Owning what brings you joy.
And not being afraid to express it, even if it's not a popular opinion.
I love that.
Okay, last question. If you could create one law that the whole world had to follow, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And her answer is beautiful. Just to share.
To share.
Yeah, like share food, homes, ideas, everything.
A world built on generosity and collaboration.
Where everyone has what they need.
It ties back to that image of the redwood trees sharing nutrients through their interconnected roots, doesn't it?
It does. It's a powerful reminder that we're all connected and that our well-being is intertwined.
So much wisdom in those final 5 answers.
They really give us a glimpse into what matters most to Jayne Aiko. Rest, self-care, mindfulness, authenticity, and generosity.
And all of those things are interconnected, creating a foundation for a meaningful life.
Well, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive into Jayne Aiko's world.
From her spiritual awakening to her journey with music, to her insights on self-care and finding your voice, there's a lot to unpack here.
Definitely a lot to reflect on, too.
What resonated with you the most?
I think the idea of embracing our Chilombo really hit home for me, that wild beast within. It's about stepping into our full authenticity,
Yeah, I love that. And of course, Aiko's emphasis on sleep, that was a good reminder for me too.
It's such a simple thing, but so important.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a joy diving into this material with you.
Likewise. And we've only just scratched the surface of these ideas.
I hope this deep dive sparks further exploration for our listeners.
We'd love to hear what resonated with you. What creative sparks did this ignite for you? What practices or insights are you going to try out in your own life? Feel free to share your thoughts with us. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep exploring.